What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk about 7 really popular books that just weren't for me. If you liked these books, I'm so glad that these books found their way into the right audience and the right hands. For me, it was missing something. I want to start by saying I don't feel like I'm an incredibly difficult reader to please. I do like certain aspects to be present in the books that I read. I do like an element of humor. I like sprinkled in romance here and there. But if a book is missing one or two of those elements, or if I just didn't really like the overall storyline, it didn't cut it for me. Let's start with Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Vandermeer? I hope I said that right. Okay, I still don't really know what this book was about. Just watch the movie. They made a movie, I want to say it stars Natalie Portman, but this was so boring to me. Oh my gosh. They're trying to map out Area X. It has 4 female characters. Let's see. 4 women, an anthropologist, a surveyor, a psychologist, and a de facto leader, and our narrator, a biologist. Their mission is to map the terrain, record all observations of their surroundings and of one another, and above all, avoid being contaminated by Area X itself. Oh my gosh, it sounds great. I was so bored. I'm really surprised I finished it, and I think I did because it's really short. Let's see, it's only 195 pages, so I can tell you that's exactly why I finished it. So I wanted to count it towards my yearly goal as far as my reading goals are concerned, but I can't believe I actually made it. Just watch the movie. Okay, this one I'm probably going to get hate for. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Listen, I know so many people who love this book, and I get the draw. I get it. This was not for me. Typically, I don't really enjoy a lot of sci-fi. Fantasy is more my game, but the thing with this one is I know exactly why I didn't like it, and it's not necessarily a valid reason, but there's something that happens in the very beginning of the story that was so traumatizing to me that I just think I wrote off the entire story because I was like, how could he do that? It actually tells you in the back, it's a very brief summary, but it says, his wife taken, his people enslaved. Driven by a longing for justice and the memory of lost love, Darrow will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if he must become one of them to do so. It talks about his wife taken, and that's where I'm kind of running into this roadblock where I know what happens to her. And again, I was so traumatized that I just really couldn't get into the story because it kind of showed me. It set the tone. It set the tone for me, and I just couldn't get into it. I have all the other books. I can be honest, I really don't have any desire to read the rest. If you love this book, you are not alone, because I want to say I am like part of the 3%, maybe less, that actually didn't really like this book. The vast majority really very much enjoyed it. Just not for me. Okay, this one, Night Flyers by George R.R. Martin. Like, what even was this? I don't know. I made the mistake of wanting to read this because it would give me a short introduction to George R.R. Martin because his Game of Thrones series is so popular. Terrible mistake. I hated this. I actually think they turned it into, a sci-fi original series. I tried watching it, but it was so different from the book, I really didn't see the relation. So this one was just not for me. Again, it's the sci-fi thing. I'm just really not a huge sci-fi fan, but George R.R. Martin, yes, I think he has some great work out there, but this is the only one I've read, and I did not enjoy it. Not for me. This one, holy moly, The Blue Sword by Robin McKinley. I hated this book. I hated it so much. I was bored the entire time. I didn't like the characters, not even a little bit. There was no redeeming qualities about any of these characters. I didn't understand the magic system, and I sure didn't understand their purpose, their mission, their journey, their adventure. It seemed so purposeless to me. I didn't really understand the world. I didn't understand the adventure. I didn't understand the characters. Honestly, I hate it. I'll be honest, the only reason I picked it up was because Emily Sanderson recommended it. She says she reads this every year. I don't know how, but seeing as she's married to the king of fantasy being Brandon Sanderson, you would think the woman would know what she was talking about. That's where the trust came from. And so I bought this book and I hated it. I kept reading it thinking, surely there is something that's going to happen that's going to change my mind, that's going to make me feel better about this terrible book. It never happened. Not for me. I don't even know how to give you a summary because to this day I don't really know what it's about. Something about a blue sword and some adventure that I didn't care about. Okay, this one, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. The thing that I like about this is the cover. I think it's a gorgeous cover. I was really excited to read this. I think the colors are really pretty. The pictures on the front are really pretty. I hated it. Well, okay, let me say, I love the cover. The language is beautiful. There's no doubt that this Naomi Novik can write incredibly well. It's very beautifully written, but as far as the story is concerned, I really didn't feel connected to it. I didn't feel connected to any of the characters. I wouldn't have cared if any or all of them died in the end. I didn't really understand why she had these powers or this ability. It kind of came out of nowhere. If you want something that's kind of written like a classic but in the realm of fantasy, this one's a good pick. You're just not going to get invested in the storyline. At least I didn't. I guess I can't speak for everybody because I do know people that really love this. But my word, I was bored the entire time. But again, beautiful cover, beautiful writing, terrible story in my opinion. This one you may have heard me talk about already. It Ends With Us, Colleen Hoover. This one is about our main character, Lily Bloom, who owns a floral shop, which I thought was really, really cheesy, but it just wasn't for me. Please be advised, this one does contain some abuse, and so that can be triggering for some people. For me, I just didn't really relate to the character, and that's probably because I'm fortunate and not having to have ever endured a abusive relationship, but you just kind of wonder why she does the things that she does, or wonder why she doesn't do some of the things that she should do. I found myself really frustrated with her a lot of the time. I also thought it was not really that believable. This isn't a spoiler, it's kind of on the back, but she just is a successful floral shop owner just right off the bat. Like when people are starting new businesses, you don't expect immediate success. I think that's important that characters fail before they're successful. Now I know that this story doesn't revolve around Lily and her floral shop, but still, from a relatability standpoint, for something to be believable, it's like you would think that she would go through a few issues or encounter a few obstacles before she's just this crazy successful individual. But I don't know, I just didn't really believe it. But I know I'm part of I think I'm an anomaly there because so many people love this one. Just wasn't for me. I did love her book, Verity. I thought that was really well done. That is a psychological thriller. This just was not for me. This one, 99% of the population loves. I really didn't like it, and it's A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This one is so popular, and I was really sad that I didn't like it because there's so much hype about it. Listen, I get why people like it. It's got your elements of romance. It has the magical world of fae. I mean, there's all these things that people are really drawn to. I just felt like I had read it before. I didn't find anything unique about this story. It's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast type of situation. I actually wrote down, I thought of a lot of other books as I was reading this, and I'm like, I just feel like she's retelling other people's stories. I also found the riddle to be really cheesy. I don't know. I also couldn't really figure out what kind of story this was. I thought it was about one aspect where, you know, she's being punished and she has to pay her dues in the fairy world, but then it like kind of turns into trials and stuff. Like I just didn't really know what I was reading. I couldn't figure out what the theme was. It was just kind of all over the place. I also didn't fall in love with the characters. The main character, well, the main male character, his name is Tamlin. I don't know why she liked him to this day. It's like, I guess he's pretty. I guess. I don't know. This one just wasn't for me. However, I do love the cover. I love this matte backing, and I so much wanted to love this series, and maybe one day I'll give the second book a shot, but for me, this just wasn't it. I just felt like it was a retelling. Actually, let me tell you, because I wrote it down. I thought it was too similar to Beauty and the Beast, Twilight, and Shadow and Bone. It's like all three of those kind of in a mashup there. So it just wasn't for me. I did read it really fast because it's very fast paced. The print is nice. You're not going to spend weeks, hopefully, on it. All these books that I just showed you, these were either 1 or 2 stars for me. So super unpopular opinion. If you disagree with me, you're not the only one. I think a lot of these are really, really well loved, and I'm so glad that they found the right home because they deserve that. All books, I think, even if they're popular, they're going to be disliked by some people or a few people. Oh my gosh. So all these books for me, these were 1 or 2 stars. I really didn't enjoy them, but some of them, I get it. I know why they're popular. I just, for some reason, it wasn't for me. It could have just been, the right book at the wrong time, but more so I just think it wasn't really my style. But a lot of these are super, super popular. If you like them, I'm so glad. I'm glad they found the right audience because all books deserve that. You're not going to find any book out there that everybody exclusively loved or exclusively hated. So I'm glad that you found your way to these books if you like them. If you didn't like them, I'm also curious to know why. Which books have you read? Do you agree with some of my thoughts on them? Or were there other reasons as to why you didn't like them? I'm curious to know. But thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you later.